and welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Monika and this is episode 11. I'm gonna start with what I'm wearing. You've seen this sweater before. It's my Seascape sweater. It's a pullover and it is... The designer's name is Andrea Yetman and I have knitted up in 4 different yarns actually. Because for me this was like leftover yarn kind of sweater. Yeah, the red and green are Garn from ullspinneri. They are hand dyed, and yeah, the color names are just red and green. Some of the white and some of the grey are Rauma, I think tråds, in obviously grey and white color. I don't know the color codes. I don't think I do, at least. And the last is, there's some grey here at the top. That's a tiny bit more shiny than the rest of the grey, which was some leftover mystery yarn that I didn't know where it came from. I knit this up this summer. I was knitting up a lot of cotton things because of the weather, and someday I was like, I'm getting bored of cotton, I want to knit something else, I want to have a challenge, I want to do some color work. So I just pulled out a lot of different yarn I had left over and looked for a pattern I wanted to knit. And this is a free pattern that I found on Ravelry, so I decided to just go for it and knit it, and I really enjoyed the process. Yeah, only one word of caution is it does have short rows in the back. You can perhaps see that it's slightly wider right next to the neck compared to here. And the back is even wider, but the short rows in the pattern do have a typo. When you come to splitting for the sleeves, the neck is not centered. So yeah, I would perhaps mark the center either in the front or in the back to get everything correctly. Yeah, I didn't notice until I was like quite far down, so instead of going back and changing where where I split for the armholes or the arms, instead I went back and picked up the collar right before the short rows and redid them just in the reverse, so they were correctly placed. So my neckline is actually knit the other way than the sweater is, because the sweater you start with the collar, you knit down, you do the short rows, you start doing the color work straight after. It was really enjoyable. I just caught the typo a bit too late, because then suddenly realized that the neckline was like yeah. So that's unfortunate, but it's an easy fix. Just mark where the middle is and make sure to follow that line down when you decide to split for the sleeves. Not a big issue. So yeah, just noticed it earlier than me. I was a bit too much in the zone, I think. I realized it's a bit too late. So yeah, I actually do have a lot of finished objects this week, but they're all Christmas presents, so if any of you are my family watching, wait a week and see this after Christmas, just in case some of the finished objects are presents. All of them was started after last week's episode, so there's no danger of you seeing it previously. So yeah, last Saturday me and my husband went out shopping for Christmas presents. And while we were out shopping, I mentioned that I wanted to knit some hats for a few family members, and he was like, well, there's a yarn store right here, you can just buy the yarn. And I was like, you're giving me permission to buy more yarn, of course I'm gonna go. So yeah, we bought more yarn. I only needed 4 skeins to make half of them because I knew I had more in stash. Yeah, let's just get it out of the way and show you. This is a stack of Christmas presents. The idea was, I could just start with explaining my thought process. Every year previously, my dad always wanted woolen socks and marzipan for Christmas. But lately he has been struggling with mobility issues, so he is unable to pull on socks by himself, and also his legs are quite swollen, so having woolen socks are uncomfortable. But yeah, he does still get cold, and I wanted to make sure at least some part of him was warm, so that was the idea. The blue one is for my dad. And my parents and my grandparents actually live in the same house. There are 2 different apartments, but they are attached. So I decided I couldn't make too much big of a difference between when my parents get these 2. I wanted my grandparents to not feel left out and also get some. So pink is my mom's favorite color, so I picked this one out specifically for her. This is a petite knit pink color. All of these are in Sandnes Garn Double Sunday. I blanked for a second there. But yeah, so I bought specifically the blue and the pink at the store to knit them for my parents. And when I came home, I realized I also wanted to knit for my grandparents. But I knew I had 4 skeins in stash, so I didn't have to go and buy more. Yeah, 4 hats in a week is kind of crazy. Less than a week actually. But I'm very pleased. These 2 I knit up during the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, so that was really quick. And then this one I used Monday and Tuesday. This one Thursday, Wednesday. Oh, that's not quite right. When did I do it? Oh yeah. I think I started with the pink one. I used Saturday and Sunday for that one. I started this one on Sunday, but it wasn't done until Monday. And this one I started on Tuesday, it was done on Wednesday, while this one I started on Thursday, it was done actually today. I usually film on Fridays. So I just sat this morning and finished this one because today is my first day of Christmas vacation. So it was quite nice. But I am a bit stressed because I have to get all of these packed right after this filming is done, because I'm gonna go and gift exchange them this afternoon. So yeah, tiny bit stressed. But I'm very pleased with the colors. I know my mom's gonna love the pink, and my dad is quite fond of blue. This is my grandma's favorite color. It's kind of like a purple reddish color. While my grandpa, he loves neutrals. So yeah, I'm very pleased. I'm just gonna have to run a bit around later and get them all packed. None of them are blocked, obviously, because you can't get them to dry that fast. So I'm gonna leave a note for my mom, going like, hey, you know what to do, block this please. And do the same for my dad, please. So yeah, my grandparents, they also know how to do this, so yeah. The Christmas stress starts already, but yeah. Okay, those are the Christmas presents and all the finished objects, and actually all I've been working on this week. So that's kind of sad. I'm gonna show you the rest just because this is gonna be the last kind of, probably the last normal episode of the year. I don't know if I'm gonna have a everything I knit this year kind of episodes. Those I find them quite enjoyable to watch, and perhaps other people would like to see what I've knit this year. Though I'm gonna have to take a lot of pictures of these right after filming, so that I can add it to my Ravelry. I've been terrible with adding things to Ravelry lately, but I did note down the dates I finished all of these, and I want my Ravelry to be relatively up to date now that I'm more than just a knitter. I kind of find it funny. I have actually sold my very first pattern to a very lovely lady in the States. I think her name was Elise. Elise, if you were the buyer, thank you very much for buying it. If you see this, it made my day. So yeah, and that is this pattern. I didn't actually say what this pattern is. It's my first hiking hat. This is the 8th one that I've knit. So yeah, I've had a lot of fun with that pattern. I didn't expect to be knitting so many hats, but I guess when you first make your first own pattern and release it, you're having a lot of fun with it. So yeah, I don't think I'm gonna make 8 samples of every single thing I'm gonna release. That would be a bit too much. But yeah, all the sizes for these ones, they're all the small size except for the blue one, which I made the medium one. My family have relatively small heads, and my grandma tried my smallest hats a few weeks ago, and she wanted the smallest one because that was the one that fit her head the best. So I think she might know that she's getting a hat for Christmas, but the rest don't. Yeah, that's my forest hiking hats. Pattern available at Ravelry if you're interested. I'm gonna link it in the description like I usually do. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Almost everything I'm knitting is self-drafted. This is actually one of the few exceptions to something that's not self-drafted, because I wanted something that I can just follow the pattern, not think at all, and just have fun. I forgot to say actually, this pattern, I knit up the size 2 to get the size 4 fit because the gauge was off. But to be honest, that didn't bother me at all. I just started with the neckband, knit, I think I knit the thirst color, stranded Colorwork thing. And then realized it was a bit too tight over my head, and then I did some measurements to see how my stitch gauge was, and realized that I wouldn't have enough rows to like cover. It would be too tight, so I just decided to knit a different size. I think I knit the size 2 to get the size 4 and not the other way around, so it was probably way too big, and I realized I wouldn't have enough yarn if I knit it in the size 4. Because yeah, this is a very cropped sweater. You see that in the pictures, and the sleeves are quarter length sleeves. I really enjoy that. I don't think everyone will, but I do, because I usually push up my sleeves anyway, so I like doing that. I did do the hem differently. Because the hem in the pattern is actually quite long with some details that's really pretty, but I didn't have enough yarn for that, so I just did the standard twisted rib, so it matched with the sleeves. Yeah, I'm sorry I'm all over the place today. I just keep forgetting some details I want to make sure you have. Christmas stress, I'm sorry. Okay, but I'm gonna go over my whips now. This is a whip I started a few weeks ago, which I'm very excited about. I have for quite a long time wanted a textured sweater that's not cables. I really do love the cable sweater I have, and I'm gonna knit another one in a different yarn I'm gonna show you later, but I wanted some texture too. Technically this is actually cabled, but it's a 1x1 cable, so I don't think it's that bad. I don't even use a cable needle for that. So this is a very nice diamond pattern, which goes into kind of like a twisted rib, but not quite. And it's separated by garter stitch border. Yeah, the diamond pattern rolls a lot because it's stockinette in the background, while this has knits and purls, so it stays a lot more flat. Yeah, I just stopped in the middle of a row. I don't even remember why. I was probably interrupted at some point. I am on the right side though, so yeah, not hard to start again. This is made out of Sandnes Garn Smart, and the colorway, I don't know. It will be here in the corner, some information. It is green. Maybe it's skogsgrønn, maybe it's grangrønn. I don't remember at the moment. I was surprised last time when I looked up the name because I thought it was petroleum colored, but it's actually green. So, yeah. It looks very much petroleum where it lays here. But that's just compared to that, which is very green, very, very green. Yeah, not a lot to say. I have barely started on the back. I made a mess, oh well. Yeah, this is the back neck. I have increased to get them over the shoulders. When I'm picking up, I'm gonna pick up the stitches here and knit the front and connect them. And eventually I will knit in the round, which I am looking forward to, but that's gonna be a while. So yeah, not a lot to say about this, not a lot of progress. I think I literally only knit one row, maybe two. Yeah, 1.5, so not a lot of progress. Yeah, let's move on. It's a self-drafted pattern in case you didn't catch that. Second whip. I haven't touched this at all since the work event. Tangles, always tangles. This is my Colorwork santahat, also knit up in Sandnes garn, but this time it's babyull lanett. Three different colors. This very dark blue. It is blue, not black, though it has a tendency to look black, which I don't mind. It's navy, cream, and red. There's two different types of white in this yarn, or will at least be two different types of white in this project eventually, because I started with 1001, but the stores didn't have enough of that, so I went over to 1012. Yeah, doesn't matter, they're very close. I'm planning on just enjoying this towards Christmas. I know I won't be using it a lot this year. Maybe if I get it done before the second day of Christmas, I can use it when I go to my grandparents. But I've decided to just enjoy this, however long it takes. Worst case, I will use it next year. I just want to enjoy some Colorwork again. So yeah, self-drafted will not become a public pattern because the Colorwork is inspired by a different hat, and I do not know who has the rights to that. It's not exactly the same. I did manually color a chart to try and match that that Colorwork, but I did make some changes, both when I was doing the drawing and also afterwards when I started doing the knitting. So they're not exactly the same, but it's not 100% original design from me, so I'm not gonna take any credit there. Yeah. I think that's all I have to say about this one. I do hope I'll get it done this year, mostly because I want to pack it away with the Christmas stuff when we do take Christmas down. Because I won't use it again until December next year, and yeah, might as well put it away with all the Christmas stuff since we're gonna bring that out in December next year anyway. So yeah, we bring out all the Christmas stuff either the first Sunday of Advent or the 1st of December, depending on which one comes first. Yeah, now you know. I'm gonna try and put all of this away. And I need a little water break. So yeah, those are two of the projects. This one is a project I'm gonna frog. I have barely started, and the reason I'm gonna frog it is because I realized right after last week's episode that these needles are 3.5 needles, and I'm supposed to knit these socks on 3 needles, 3mm needles, and I haven't bothered ripping them out yet. I'm just gonna do it now. I was like, oh, I can just transfer them to the number 3 needles, and I was like, yeah, but why aren't the number 3 needles available? I grabbed the smallest one that were available, so obviously I'm using the number 3 ones for something else. And I didn't remember. So yeah, this was supposed to be a gift net, which I already, when I cast them on, knew was quite ambitious and probably unrealistic, because knitting socks takes a lot longer time than knitting hats, at least in my experience. So I don't know why on earth I thought that would be possible. This is a pattern I have written up myself, and I'm gonna actually release them early next year, because I have actually now completed the pattern. But I want to knit some more samples before I release it, so that's also a project for the Christmas holidays, now that I'm not gonna knit a million hats. Only one. But yeah, I was thinking of giving a pair of socks to my sister-in-law, because she specifically wished for thin socks, but I didn't have time. That's just the reality of it. I didn't have time. This is Alpakka Forte. I think it's from Dale yarn. Yep, it's from Dale. This is colorway just called brown. I probably do have a tag somewhere with the actual color. Anyway, I'm gonna give the information down here as before. Yeah, they are gonna become socks eventually. I'm gonna have to buy more yarn because I realized that only the 2 smallest sizes are gonna have 1 ball of each. These are 50-gram balls, and because of the colorwork that's in those socks, I haven't decided what to call them yet. One of them will use more than 50 grams in most sizes. So yeah, that's just the reality of it. The larger sizes will use 2 balls of each. You won't use a full skein of the second one, but you will need it to complete the socks, which I know is a bit annoying, having to buy 200 grams just to knit a pair of socks. Yeah, there are 2 colored socks, that's just how it is. 2 or 3, you can of course use more colors if you want to, but I recommend 2 colors. I think that's the prettiest way to do it. Oh yeah, those socks will be featured in a later episode when I do find my proper needles again. I have a suspicion that the needles are on my sailor sweater, and that's why I can't find them. because I honestly thought I was knitting them up in 3.5 needles, but no, my 3.5 needles are here. So yeah, I do have an extra set of 3.5 needles, but that doesn't actually help because those needles are on the green sweater, the textured one. But yeah, clearly I love having a lot of projects, but I only work on one project every week, so that's reality of knitting for gifts, I guess. I'm gonna start with this red one before I do the... Is that the last one? Oh, it is. Okay. I only have 2 more whips to show, which is actually a good thing, because then this will be a shorter episode, hopefully. Last time, or maybe the time before, I showed you that I've finished my collar. Though I wasn't 100% pleased with the collar, because some places around the collar is tighter than others, so I'm gonna loosen it up by inserting some extra yarn. This is the end I have, so I have to like graft them together to be able to loosen up the collar. I do get it over my head, but it is very, very tight at the moment. I am very happy with the pickup rate though. I just think the bind off is too tight. So yeah, looks very nice. This is how tight it will be when it lays around your head. It's just that it's not, this part is not particularly stretchy or elastic at all, while this part is a lot more elastic. So it's more that I want it to be consistent, because you can see the top hair is very elastic, but the bottom not a lot. So yeah, that's the problem I have to fix. That happens. I think every collar I ever knit I have to fix at some point. Different reasons every time. That's just how it is when you knit your own patterns, I guess. So yeah, I have already written up the pattern for this one. I will add a note that, like, if you are planning on doing a double knit collar, for God's sake, please bind off loosely, or at least loosely enough. Yeah. Have not touched it. This is a self-drafted pattern. I have at the moment only the name Red Sweater. If anyone has any name suggestions, I would really love name suggestions. The yarn is from Strikkekista, called Potential. It's a 50% merino, 50% silk. I think it's superwash merino and 50% silk yarn blend. Very, very, very soft and squishy. Love it. It's like I'm gonna live in this when it's done. Colorway is Lollipop. I'm sorry if I'm speaking very fast. I just, yeah, don't want to waste any time today. So yeah, I really love this. I still haven't removed the row counter because I haven't actually touched it in a week, but I'm gonna remove the row counter and then just keep track of, maybe not even do that, just at some point count how many stitches I have over the arms, and when I do come close to the right amount, I will keep a closer eye. Yeah. But it's really slow progress. I only have like 50 stitches over the arms and I need at least twice as many. So, yeah. That's just how it is. Very, very thin yarn because it's 600 meters per 100 grams. So, yeah, this is gonna take ages. That's just how it is. Okay, putting this down. Then the last project. Last week I did a lot, or last episode I had done a lot on this, but I haven't touched it since. All week this week has been stressing about work and also knitting hats, nothing else. So, yes. This is my sailor sweater. Still haven't tried it on since I fixed the issue with the armholes, so I'm gonna have to do that. Knit up in 2 different yarns. The Oh, I'm sorry. I always get some yarn on my nose every time I pick up this one. I have no idea why. But the turquoise one is Rauma in the colorway 5775. And white is Viking Alpakka Storm in the colorway 500. Yeah. It's not long enough, but it's not so far off being long enough. I am gonna compare this to my cable sweater to make sure that I kind of get enough of the body. Yeah. I did wear my cable sweater a lot this week, and I have realized that I need to redo the hem to make it a bit tighter and perhaps a bit longer. The way I made it is that it kind of just goes straight down from the rest of the knitting, but I have realized I wanted to cinch in a bit to keep my back more warm. And I'm also going to redo the collar on my cable sweater. That might be a project video. I don't know. Just talking to the camera like this doesn't take as much effort as trying to find an angle where you can see what I'm doing, all of that. Yeah. That's a different thing. But yeah, I'm gonna compare the length of this one to the length of the cabled knit sweater, because I really do enjoy the length it has. But I'm gonna make the hem on this one tighter than the rest of the body of this to make it cinch in a tiny bit. Then I'm gonna pick up from the sleeves and knit until I have no more yarn. I am pretty certain I will at some point run out of the turquoise one, but if I do, I'm just gonna continue the sleeves with just the white and then go straight into white for the cuff. So yeah, that's my plan. I do enjoy this color, though it is wonky. I think that's just free block issue. I think as soon as it's been blocked, that's just gonna lay a lot nicer. I don't think it's gonna be a big problem. I think it might be because of the Italian bind off, which sometimes does weird stuff. Also, my knits and pearls lean one way, so that's just how it is. Doesn't show up as well in the rest of the body because when you knit back and forth, it kind of evens out. That is in my opinion. Yeah. That's the last whip. I'm sorry if my voice been a bit unpleasant to listen to. I woke up this morning and didn't have a lot of voice. But yeah, gonna put this down. And yes, these are my 3mm needles, so that explains why I couldn't knit any socks. At least not until I buy new knitting needles. I have put knitting needles on my wish list. I do not know if I will get them. Yeah, I do hope so. I wanted knitting needles and I wanted a Swift. That's kind of the only things on my wish list this year. Tiny water break. I do have some plans for the time between Christmas and New Year's. Quite a lot of them actually. Some of it is just reorganizing these shelves because at the moment I'm having 2 layers of yarn here, and I have some yarns in bags both here and behind me. And this shelf down here is pure chaos because that's the Dazzling yarn Alpakka Forte, which I use for the socks, and at the moment they are just jumbled. Maybe I should get a basket or something to put them in. This jar here are for leftover yarn, but like scrap yarn, not like actual leftovers, because my leftover yarns are in here, which are also quite chaotic. Most of them I've just left the leftovers in the skein. I'm gonna try and ball them up and make them better because I need the tags. And also, this is no longer working. It's too full. I have too many different types of yarn and all of that. So I need to organize this in a better way too. So my plan is every year I use a bullet journal. It's for my own sanity and productivity. It's not something I share with the world. But I have started this year to actually note down the things I knit and stuff in my journal. But I wanted to be even more organized. So previously I had never wanted to tape things or like glue things into the journal because it gets very bulky. But I'm gonna do an experiment next year. I have one bullet journal for the past like 6 years. Not one for 6 years, but like one every year. Before that I had like 3 or 4 every year because I was writing a lot. But that was while I was a student, so yeah, you do write a lot when you're studying. And you have a lot of thoughts. So yeah, I'm planning on trying to still use only one journal for a year. Actually, this is the journal I have this year, and I'm just gonna go to the next blank page. Yeah, this is how much I have used. This is what I have left over. So I have only used 150 pages, and there's more than 200 in this one, I think. Yeah, 205. This is the actual bullet journal Leuchtturm. I'm gonna change back to a normal one because I don't like the dot grid on this one. I use the dotted version. It is 1 dot, or maybe it's even 2 dots smaller in each direction, like a centimeter smaller than the dot grids in the normal Leuchtturm books. And that means that a lot of the things that I have developed previously, like making a calendar view and things like that, don't fit the way it used to. So this year has been quite a struggle to get all the information down on one page, and also just the fact that I'm missing 1 centimeter in width does actually mean I have to write smaller or like change lines more often, and I have found that annoying. So I'm going back to normal Leuchtturm to write down in, and that also has more pages because in the official bullet journal Leuchtturm there are quite a lot of pages that are like standard pages, and I don't use them. I don't use the index. I know that's a staple of bullet journal things, but I'm a visual person. I can flip through the book and know that's the page I'm looking for because it looks the way I expect it to look. And also I remember I wrote it in September, so between September and October, that's where like I have to find it. That's just how my brain works. So yeah, those are some of the changes I'm gonna do, which will affect my knitting too, because at the moment I feel a bit unorganized, so I want to like not feel unorganized. And also this time of year is when I'm planning a new bullet journal anyway, so I'm looking forward to looking through my old one and see what things worked, what didn't, how will I set up the new one, what information do I want. I also do a blend between just normal to-do lists and getting things done, which I was really inspired by a few years ago. Most of it I don't do. I don't do the email thing where you like put them in different categories because you're gonna write like answer them later. My solution is I mark them as not read, and if it's not read, it means I haven't done what I'm supposed to do with them yet. And when I am done with them, I mark them as read and I archive them because I don't want to look at them. If it's marked as read but I haven't archived it, it means I'm waiting for a reply. So for me it works quite well. So yeah, as soon as the email chain is done, it gets archived. I don't need it. If I need anything from it, I will use the search function and it works quite well. Usually it's because I either know who I was talking with or I know a specific phrase that was in it, so I can Google that. Yeah, makes it a lot easier. Yeah. Also, you can just press the see all emails and then you get them listed, and I'm like, approximately here at this time from this person, perhaps, maybe. And something with the subject line will catch my attention, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's the one. So, not the worst. But yeah, I'm gonna have to do something with my leftover yarns. Probably I will make a scrappy hat just because I find it fun, and I do use double Sunday for that. Or maybe I will instead make a scrappy sweater, or I don't know, socks. Double Sunday doesn't have any nylon and it's not superwash, so I know they're gonna felt and at some point get destroyed. But I do enjoy socks knit with Double Sunday. They are very warm and cozy. But yeah, that's for later. Other things I'm gonna do. I do want to knit a second version of the cable sweater, and I'm gonna knit it up while also writing the pattern so I can like organize my thoughts better. I wasn't expecting that the cable knit sweater writing the pattern down would be such a challenge, but it is because I'm making the charts for the cables and trying to figure out how to explain each of the sections in a way that makes sense, and also how to write a chart down so it's easy to understand. I am trying to use some of the graphics from the Japanese Stitch Bible just because they actually have a standard, but that's not the same way we usually write it in my language or in English, so I'm trying to find a middle ground. It's not easy. And because there's so many different type of cables, I have to like be specific, like it's the cables from this chart that you knit now, and then you go over to this chart and remember to increase at the end because it's a raglan. Perhaps it would have been easier if I had instead knitted in panels, but when I knitted that, I wasn't thinking about writing the pattern, I just enjoyed the knitting process. It worked very well with my brain. I'm just struggling with writing it down in a way that makes sense for other people. But yeah, I want to knit that sweater, and I was planning on using this green yarn, which is Rauma, and I think it's 3 tråds. I'm not 100% sure. If I try and pull it down, it's gonna fall. So yeah. Oh, sorry, I do not have time to do that right now. Yeah. My cable knit sweater is knit up in a yarn from strikkegarn, which is 225 meters per 100 grams, while that yarn is just 100 meters per 50 grams, so that's 200 meters per 100 grams, which also this yarn is, but this is Fivel, still Rauma, but I decided I was gonna do something I haven't done before. I'm gonna hold this with not mohair, because I can't stand mohair, but this is alpaca silk, so these two together will most likely get me the thickness that's close enough to my cable knit sweater that the stitch gauge won't be too much off, and I can still write up the pattern and show it off in the kind of correct way, the way I want it to. And also I really do love this blue color, and this one is slightly darker, so I'm hoping that together you will get a slightly marbled effect, but not so much that it will distract from the cables. Yeah. That's something I'm gonna start with when I'm come a bit further on the green sweater, and preferably not until after I'm done with my sailor sweater. So yeah, Uh, sorry I've been talking so fast, but as you can probably hear from the phone call I was receiving and ignored, I am in a bit of a hurry, and I gotta run. So thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoy this wild ride that's been today with all the knitting and plans and all of that. And yeah, I will see you next week, either with a normal episode or with everything I've knit this year. That might be a bonus episode depending on how busy I am over the holidays. So yeah, thank you all for watching. See you later. Bye.